What happens when people are fed up with a system of injustice? What happens when people are at their wits' end? What happens when a parent has lost his son, has lost his baby? What happens? An unfortunate, fatal karma. That's what happens.
The price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all. We have a very important subject to discuss. All right. Very, very important. I appreciate everybody who's been waiting in the chat room. Had a little bit of technical things that I wanted to, make sure was taken care of before we get started. I don't want to, have the live stream being held up and all that stuff. Don't want that to happen. So we have to have this conversation. Before we do, I want to have a disclaimer out that you all know me. This channel, nor myself, condone acts of unjustified violence from one person to another person for whatever reason, whatever the case may be. Just letting that be known now. So there's no confusion as to what I'm trying to say. There's no confusion as to what I'm about. I'm not trying to endorse or condone, or I'm not trying to encourage anybody to go out there and do anything harmful to anybody else. I'm not trying to endorse, condone, justify, encourage anybody to go out there and do anything illegal. All right. That's not what we do here. All right. What we are doing this evening is we are talking about the situation. We are talking about the conditions that lead to this type of situation. There is a cause and there is an effect. Okay. We're talking about the cause that has led to this effect, because a lot of people, they love to discuss the effect of something. Everybody wants to hyper focus on the effect, and the effect is always too much. The effect is always too far. It's always overdone. It's never justified, but nobody talks about the cause and which led up to that. So this is what we're going to be discussing here. All right. Now, before we do, there's going to be some things that we're going to have to play. So as we're doing that, I'm going to play the copyright disclaimer so I can allow the YouTube platform to understand that everything we play thus forth will be protected under the guise of fair use. And as we're doing that, what I would appreciate for you all to do is to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that share button, all of that stuff. All right. We'll be right back. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Right. Okay, so we're back. Now, in case you guys haven't heard, and I discussed this on my live stream I did the other day, I broke the news there, but this is Rodney Hilton Jr. Now, Rodney Hilton Jr., he is under arrest right now because he took his vehicle and allegedly rammed the vehicle into sheriff's deputy, ending the sheriff's deputy's life. They say he did so on purpose. He did so deliberately out of revenge for the day before, where a situation occurred where allegedly his 18-year-old son was in a stolen vehicle and he was fleeing the scene, and his 18-year-old son was shot in the back as he was trying to run away. The 18-year-old son wound up succumbing to his wounds and passed away. So that's the situation. Okay, that's what we had. Okay. Did I say the wrong thing? I said Hilton. I said Hinton. Did I say the wrong thing? Okay, if I did, thanks. Anyway, now we're gonna play this news clip real quick. Gonna play the news clip. Here we go.
Have a seat. Have a seat.
Have a seat, sir.
Sit down. Yeah, now the outburst goes on. Hinton is escorted out of the courtroom. They finally get things under control, and Hinton returns to the court for this hearing to hold him on no bond. It's a special hearing. It requires evidence to be presented. A prosecution called a Cincinnati police detective who said Hinton had been at the police station to meet with the chief and to see body cam of police from the day before. That body cam showed officers shooting Hinton's son, Ryan Hinton, to death. And it came as they stopped the stolen car. After leaving that scene and seeing this video, the detective said Hinton was very emotional. Family didn't even want him to drive home. He didn't, but he came back later to get his car, and then he headed to the area of the UC campus where Deputy Larry Henderson was directing traffic for the UC graduation. The detective said Hinton picked out the first officer he saw and accelerated toward him.
Through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, and struck Deputy Henderson and the metal utility pole on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Okay. Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
I think the conduct in question is classic mental illness criminal conduct. It's always intentional, it's bold, it's conspicuous.
I don't know that...
That's a hallmark sign that somebody is not in their right frame of mind, no attempt to deceive, no attempt to hide what they did.
Yeah, so that was Clyde Bennett. That is Hinton's attorney. He made no secret that he's going to use mental health as part of his defense in this case. And in the end, he didn't even argue with the idea of not having bond for Hinton. In fact, the only thing he requested was that he gets mental health while he's in the Claremont County Jail. Reporting live, Brian Hamrick, WLWT News 5.
All right. Now, that's the defense's argument. They have their own private attorney. The defense is going to make the argument that he had issues with mental health, and temporarily he went insane. So I'm not going to say he didn't, and let's be honest with you. We have heard insanity plea from several other people of the dominant society. They can go into a building, commit mass genocide, and they can make the insanity plea, and the society, I know this is very important, not just the legal system, but also the society will back that up. The society will be all like, well, I mean, we do have to have a more broad and deep and better understanding of mental health. There's always these mental health awareness situations. Now, when people who are grieving to such a crazy degree, to such an extreme degree, when they see these things, there are times now, allegedly, they are saying that this is all premeditated and he took his car knowing what he was going to do. Allegedly. What also could have happened is he was driving his car as his family didn't want him to, which is why I played the clip. He was driving his car. He saw a police officer and then he just snapped. And unfortunately, that's what happened. All right. Which nobody is sitting up here praising and condoning and all of this stuff. Right. What are we doing? What we are doing is we're looking at the situation not as an individual or one-off situation. We're looking at this as this is the straw that broke the camel's back. That's how we're looking at this situation. We're looking at this situation and we're saying, when he saw the video of what happened to his son and he knows the history of this country, this is what is causing a parent, a father who loved his 18-year-old child. This is what is causing someone to have moments where they temporarily go insane. I have seen parents myself personally. I've seen parents who, if their child is even if they believe that their child is in the slightest bit of danger, I've seen parents damn near go insane, like almost lose their mind, lose their cool, okay, go completely damn near crazy, be illogical over the slightest little thing that really is a little overreacting. I've seen parents do that. I've seen parents go to that degree, All right. We understand. How many in the chat room, if you have a child, if you're a parent and you have a child in the chat room, put the heart emoji in the chat room. I just want to see something. I want to see something, because I know for a fact, I don't have any, but I know for a fact parents don't play about their children. There is a very unique thing. And there's been a lot of studies and things like that that have concluded this information as well too. There's a very unique thing when it comes to the protective nature of a parent with their children. This child is only 18 years old, okay? His life essentially was just really getting started. And they took this child away. They unjustly took this child away. Let me show you the video, because the news didn't want to play it. The news isn't going to want to play it, because remember, they take both sides of the argument. And as you guys are doing that, I would appreciate if you guys hit that like button, because videos like this don't really hit that well on the algorithm, which we already know, which is fine. Now, let's look at this video real quick, all right? Hold on. This one right here. This is the video of Ryan Jr., of Ryan Hinton, sorry. This is the video of Ryan Hinton, his son, running away from the alleged stolen vehicle. Okay, there's no sound, and the actual shots were blurred out. All right, the actual shots were blurred out. Okay, so let's listen, or let's look. Right. So as you can see, he's running away. They claim, the officer claim, that he has a weapon in his hand, a gun in his hand, and he was pointing the gun at him. And like the whole thing is, they claim it's self-defense. It's self-defense. When they're white, it's always self-defense. There is always self-defense when they're white. Look at this, okay? And then that's when the shots go off. That's when he hits the ground. As you can see, it's blurred. I don't want to play it that much, because I just don't like playing videos like this. But what I want you to see and understand is the distance that Ryan had from the officer, and how Ryan's back was completely and totally facing the officer. He was completely and totally facing the other way. Even if he had a gun, which they claim they found a gun. Of course, we can easily chalk that up to the fact that they could have easily had planted something later on. But even if he had one, if you look and see, there's no way he could have fired that gun at an officer. He's completely facing the other way. His back is completely turned. He's not even in the officer's, or the officer, isn't even in his visual whatsoever. So when a father sees this, and a father sees that your 18-year-old is taken out, it's gone forever, okay? His baby is just lost. His baby is gone forever over a situation that you know for a fact there is absolutely no way, there is absolutely no justification for what the officer did whatsoever. None. We know this for a fact. We know for a fact. And we've seen several videos similar to this where white kids, they're running away allegedly because they've committed some crime, okay? It's not the police who determine if you commit a crime or not, okay? The police arrest you for suspicion of said. Then you have your day in court, and then that's what really determines if the crime has been committed or not. A crime has been committed or not, okay? Their job is to uphold the law and arrest you if they perceive things that are going on to be unlawful. Let's just be very clear with that. How many videos have we seen of white people attacking police officers, and they have so much restraint? But we don't see that when it comes to Ryan, who's 18 years old, who's running away. I don't see a weapon. I don't see a weapon at all. And even if I did, how is he going to fire a weapon at you if he's facing the complete opposite direction? And we know for a fact that this trigger happy, this shoot first, ask questions later type of mentality and type of policing happens with black people exclusively. Exclusively. Because if it didn't, we would be able to see the white equivalent, okay, not just a version, but the equivalent, the white equivalent of Ryan Hinton, sorry. We would be able to see that. This is what causes a situation where in America, Black America, we live in a different environment. We live in a different police state. Let me tell you something about just general justice. Let me tell you something about just general the way things are, right? Let's say that eventually a system, and in this we're going to get in really deep right now, really deep. Okay, so I need y'all to hit that like button. I need y'all to be locked in, because a system of injustice, we got to understand history with this, does not naturally exist. Naturally, a system of injustice will naturally, through the human consciousness, will naturally correct itself over time. It's a natural occurrence. The only way a system of injustice can exist and maintain and be as potent as it is if there is something that has orchestrated it, something that manages it, and something that maintains it on the regular basis, something that adjusts it, updates it, okay? Something that evolves it. This is the system of white supremacy. The system of white supremacy is not a natural system. The system of white supremacy is a man-made system that needs consistent monitoring, consistent evolution, consistent updates, and consistent supervision. That's what it needs. It's not a natural system. People are not naturally going to acquiesce. People are not naturally going to capitulate to a system of injustice. That's just not naturally the way human life will naturally work. That's not the way human beings work. That's not the way animals work. That's why human beings have adrenaline. For dangerous situations, we don't express or see our adrenaline pop out on the regular basis. Okay. But if we do see, if there's a fire in the house and you see an ability for somebody to lift something that's much heavier than they would regularly be able to lift, or run faster, okay, than they would regularly be able to run. We've seen situations like this when adrenaline pops up and the human being becomes superhuman. Okay, these are defense mechanisms that are built in naturally to the human body, just like you have with different animals. You have different defense mechanisms that are naturally built in to a dog or a cat or a snake or whatever animal you want to bring up. Animals who naturally don't seek out, even if they're not their prey. Okay, we are not the prey of small little alley cats, but if an alley cat is pushed with no way out, if an alley cat is pushed and there's no other way but to fight their way out, they will do so. We are not the prey of raccoons, but if a raccoon feels that the raccoon is cornered with no other way out, the raccoon does have claws and the raccoon will attack a person. This is the natural way of living beings. Naturally, when you push a living being, okay, because we're all living beings, humans, animals, all of that. When you push it to a certain degree and there's no other way out, then naturally instinct of defense will come out. And that instinctive defense oftentimes overwhelms the aggressor. This is just the natural state of life. And I'm saying this because I don't want to see more situations like this. Not to promote anything, but I don't want to see more situations like this. So we have to understand the history of this. This is a build up of pushing Black America to the edge. And what the system of white supremacy has done unsuccessfully, but they've been able to do for a length of time, is being able to tell black people, hold on, don't feel like there's no way out, but there is a way out. There is, okay? You just gotta protest, okay? You gotta protest, okay? Well, you gotta vote, you gotta do this, change will come, because they understand that the system of injustice, this racial hierarchy, is not natural and will naturally be rebelled against. So in order to quell the rebellion against this system of racial hierarchy, you have to allow the oppressed to believe that there is some type of escape avenue. And if they follow this certain path, they will be able to escape past that. You have to allow them to believe that. So they've convinced black people that, okay, well, what you need to do is you need to have a peaceful protest. Let me ask you a question. How well has that worked? How well has that worked? Oh, well, what we need to do is we need to vote. We need to vote. Black faces in high places, that's what's going to get us there. That's what's going to get us there. Let me tell you something. We've had the biggest black face in high place. You haven't seen someone who's not. We've had that. We've had that, didn't we? Didn't we have that? They say if you want change, go out there and vote. That's what you need to do. Now, what has that changed? What has it? When you have situations that build up and you're putting the pressure on Black America, you're putting the pressure there for foundational Black American parents who see situations like this situation right here. Okay? You see situations like this, and you see situations, and you know for a fact that justice is probably not going to come. Not in the way that they say, because they say trust the system, believe in the system, and we will have things done right. We will do things the right way. You just have to have faith and believe that we will do the right thing. And we wait and we wait and we see, and with all of the voting, with all of the protesting and being peaceful and being respectful and all of that, what does that get us? One of the reasons why I feel like this situation is so interesting, that it happened in Ohio. Do you guys remember another Black child whose life was taken by the police in Ohio? Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice was 12 years old, and his life was taken from him by the police. And what happened with the police? Mind you, this is under the Black president that was supposed to change all of this. What happened with the police? Oh, he got away. There's this constant pushing. When you push people to the degree where there's no other escape, because everything, you guys don't want the system to really change. You don't want the status quo to change. So you're giving these false solutions, these artificial solutions that you know will always keep the status quo the same. So you're saying, oh, we'll protest peacefully, just don't create no ruckus and don't offend anybody. Okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, well, you gotta vote. Well, okay, well, that didn't work. We'll do this. Okay, well, that didn't work. Do this. That didn't work. Do this. That didn't work. Eventually, people are going to stop seeking your approval. People are going to stop seeking your advice. People are going to stop seeking what you have to say for answers at all. What happens naturally, then this is just a natural way of life, they will develop the answers themselves. And unfortunately, this type of situation and this type of pressure and stress is what leads to a situation just like Rodney Huntington Jr. Hinton. I keep saying Hinton. Let me ask you a question. With this situation we see here, right? And everybody is like, oh my God, this is a terrible situation. What do you think they're most afraid of? I'm gonna tell you what they're most afraid of. They're most afraid of the fact that Black America, you have hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of foundational Black Americans looking at this situation and being all like, well, I'm not upset when chickens come home to roost. That's what they're really upset with. That's what they're really, really bothered by. They're really bothered by the fact that when we're looking at this situation, we're like, well, this was the inevitable outcome of the situations that you guys have allowed to exist for centuries. From the police existing as slave catchers to right now, you guys have allowed this to exist for this amount of time. So they're looking at everybody and they're looking at this situation and they're saying that not only did he do this and is very unapologetic about it, but America, Black America, is sitting up here essentially standing by him. And what we're standing by is something being done. Okay? We're not standing necessarily by you running a cop over. No. We're standing by the fact that, or we're standing by the principle of our warnings to you all that karma will eventually come, that what goes around comes around, that your karma will eventually come, that your evil will not just go on indefinitely, okay, without consequence, okay, with just you are able to do what you want at will with impunity. We are saying that that is going to come to an end, and this is a sign that that is that time. This is what we're saying. This is a sign that this, yes, that's that time. Yes, that is that time. I want you to see here, his brother was here to show support. My mouse, okay, hold on. My mouse is tripping right now. Okay, so I want you to see this. Look at this. This is his brother. Okay, now this is the second hearing. I'm saving the first one to the last. So his brother just wanted to, this is his brother, wanted to show that he was there, okay? To give his brother the moral support that he would need in this moment. Mind you, this person has essentially lost his brother and lost his nephew in a matter of a few days. So not only is the father, Rodney, going through a lot, but the entire family is going through a lot. They still have to, this man still has to bury his nephew and has lost his brother as well too. So yes, he wants to show his brother that his family is there. His family has not abandoned him. And the police are pushing this man out the room for simply trying to get his brother to notice that he was there.
Get my phone. Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all cool. I just want my brother to see me. Take a breather. I just want my brother to see me. I just want my brother to see me.
I hear you.
My brother can't see me. They did this shit before. They did this shit before.
That's not the way to do it.
They did it before. I got a video of him messing with my brother.
Now, the woman, okay, and it's not lost on me that they would have a black woman doing that, right? It's not lost on me that the out of all of the cops there, They're trying to have the black one calm him down. They're trying to have this mammy calm him down. And she says, that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. Okay. What is the way to do it? And that's just my question for the whole situation. What is the way to do it? I'm not making any type of suggestions here. I'm not condoning anything. Of course, we have to be very careful with the platforms that we're on. But she says that's not the way to do it. What was he doing? And then what is the way to do it? Because this is something that eventually pushes people to their breaking point. Brothers and sisters, this is what pushes people to their breaking point. When they say you can escape oppression, but not like this, and not like that, and not like that, and not like that, or that, or that, or that, or that, or this, or that. Anything you say, yes, you can. You deserve freedom. You deserve all of this, but not that way, and that way, and that way, or that way. And any way you come up with, I'm going to say it's just not the right way to do it. There's just a better way. What is it? I couldn't tell you, but you got to find it. Eventually, people are going to do things regardless of your approval. If change needs to come, and naturally they understand that it does need to come, because naturally they understand that this anti-black system that we live in globally is not a natural thing, and which is why it consistently needs so many updates, which is why it needs so much hyper supervision, which is why it needs to evolve so frequently, because it's not a natural thing. It's not natural. It's a very demonic, man-made system of a hierarchy that they know. So in order for them to keep that going, they have to allow the oppressed to believe that there is an avenue out, because they cannot face the rebellion of of the people. They can't face that. So they have to get the people to a degree, at least subconsciously, comply. And subconsciously, they have to comply under the condition that there is a way out. Eventually, it's going to stop. But when people try to create the conditions to liberty and freedom, they say, okay, that's not the right way to do it. That's not the right way to do it. You got to find a better way. My only question is, what is that? What has worked? What do we need to do that we have not been doing? That's my question. Let's finish playing this.
Before! I ain't do nothing. I just wanted my brother to see me. I ain't do nothing to him. That's my family. That's my family.
Come on.
Ray, please. Ray, please. Doing all that.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. They're pushing him out because they don't want him to have no support, right? That's what they're doing. But when we were looking the day before this whole situation occurred, you had, hold on. Mouse is acting some type of way. You had a situation where the cops came in damn near in droves. The cops were in there damn near in droves. Look at this. This was the situation he was in before. They damn near had the entire damn police department up in there for intimidation. The police department was in there not just to intimidate him, but also to intimidate the judge, because this was a bond hearing, to let the judge know, okay, I don't need you to become no damn nigga lover right now. To let the lawyer know, hey, y'all got to be on code. Don't let him get no bond. I'm talking about they were all in there deep. Damn near all of them were in there deep. And this is why you don't see justice happening. Because look at this situation. Look at the situations and the conditions that we get when an officer loses his life. Okay. They stand up for their brother in arms. Okay. But when black children lose their life, we're told that it's unfortunate, but this is the only system that we got, so we got to find a way to work with it. It's unfortunate, but your kid was in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's unfortunate, but the cop has a family to get back to. I mean, not your kid, but the cop. The cop has a family that the cop has to get back to. So if it's up to your child, your baby's life, or the cop's life, it's gonna be the cop. It has to be the cop. And that's just the way the system works, and that's just the way the system has to be, and that's just how we gotta live. So that's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. When you see stuff like this is meant to stoke fear and intimidation in the hearts of people. And unfortunately, as sometimes you see this working. But all of this stuff is out here. They're out here trying to show a sense of force, show a sense of strength. And unfortunately, in this situation, we have to understand, with fighting back, when you're at your wit's end, when an animal decides to, any person, living being, we got to break this down, even from a scientific point of view. When people decide to eventually go for broke, fight back, decide to just throw it all, okay? When that happens, they understand the risk that they're taking. They understand there is no going back after that. In the intro of every live stream, every video we do here, I play different quotes from different people. The very beginning, the very first quote, and I wanted to, I had more quotes, but I can put all of these quotes together, okay, based off of some of my favorite quotes that resonate with me the most, okay, quotes that I feel like represent the channel and the message that I present. Is "The Price of Freedom is Death" by Malcolm X. That was his quote. An interviewer asked him, okay, about freedom, about justice, and he said, justice will not come until black people are willing to pay the price of that. And then the interviewer asked him, what is the price of justice? And then he said, the price of justice, the price of freedom is death. It is. What that means is that there is a certain point in time where the fear of your livelihood has to be suppressed for the desire for justice. Fear, listen, fear naturally occurs in human beings. It's a natural thing, okay? We all have it. We all should have it to a certain degree. Fear is what prevents us from just going out and doing incredibly dangerous things. Fear is a natural human instinct, okay? It prevents us from running into burning buildings. It prevents us from climbing super crazy heights because we have the fear of falling. That is our brain rationally processing that this is dangerous and to prevent us from being in that situation. This is a natural fear. Now you have fear that is logical, and then you have fear that is man-made, artificial, and illogical. Fear, more so in this analogy, let's say it's neutral, right? And then you have the actions or the responses of that fear. The response of a fear that is cowardice. Cowardice is not necessarily fear. Cowardice is the response to the fear, is the acquiescence to the fear, is the submission to the fear. Cowardice is you submitting to whatever you are afraid of, which in this situation would be the system of white supremacy. Cowardice is you submitting to the system of white supremacy. That is cowardice. Bravery is not the absence of the fear. Bravery is the overcoming of said fear. Now, you see the fear is in the middle, and you have the cowardice on one side going all the way to the left, and then you have the bravery on the other side pushing forward to the right. Now, this is what we have. We, as society, we applaud bravery, okay? And we disown cowardice. That's dishonorable. We don't have respect for cowards, especially a man. We don't have respect for that. We don't have respect for that because we can understand and we can rationalize the fear of that. However, we cannot excuse and accept and justify the action of the submission to that fear. That is the cowardice. And unfortunately, in the system of white supremacy, you do have people who are pushing forth bravery, and then you have people who are submitting and turning cowards. Now, what can happen with the fear that is natural, because some fears are natural and logical, and some fears you should have. Okay, this is why we don't drive 120 miles on the highway, because we have a fear of causing an accident. That is a rational thought. That is a rational fear of an accident. Okay, because we have that rational fear. So there are some fears that are logical that we use to protect ourselves. There are some fears that are implanted in society to keep us submitted to a system. Now, what we can do, even though fear in and of itself isn't a natural thing, what can happen is you can develop yourself, because it's really psychological. You can develop yourself to a degree where the experience of fear bypasses you. You can develop yourself to a degree where you don't even experience the fear of said thing. When you're a child, for instance, there are moments where you can be afraid of the dark. That is a fear of the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't see what's going to happen. You've essentially lost your sight for that moment. You can develop yourself physically, more importantly, psychologically. You can develop yourself as a person in different avenues. You can develop yourself physically, economically, spiritually, psychologically. You can develop yourself mostly it's psychological, all right, which is where the fear really comes from. And you can develop yourself to the degree where that fear doesn't even touch you. It bypasses you. You've developed your psyche to a degree where you don't even have the fear of said thing. Not that you're being illogical or whatever the case is, but that fear doesn't pass you. This is what Malcolm X was talking about when he said that. Okay, he's not out here condoning people running around doing crazy, wild, dangerous things. He never does. He's never done that. He's never condoned anybody running around doing crazy, violent things or harming other people just indiscriminately. He doesn't do that. He never has. Okay, but what he's talking about is there's a fear, even to the degree of losing your life. There is a fear that naturally occurs, but when we can bypass that fear, even if we have to use bravery to develop, okay, the resistance of that fear, okay, and to quell that fear to a degree where it doesn't exist anymore, then we can finally be free, because the system of white supremacy relies on us being afraid. And unfortunately, in this situation, when you see cops like this, when you see cops out here trying to show force, trying to show intimidation, trying to show, oh yeah, we're here and we're here to stay and all of this stuff, when you see that, you will have people who are out here being afraid, and you will have people who understand that this is the change of an environment. Change can be scary. Change can be dangerous. Change needs to happen. But you have people who are willing to submit and live under a submission of a system of racial hierarchy, then the danger it would take, or the bravery it would take to develop in them to rebel against it. Let me show you some of this. Let me show you some clips right here, right? Hold on, not this. So here comes the scared Sambos.
And his father killed the police officer. He was.
Hold on, look. All right, here we go.
Was killed. the son who was killed and his father killed the police officer, he was wrong. Again, we have the black community. Doesn't mean he deserved to die, but he was wrong. So let's not act like, again, that there was that this young boy was an upstanding member of society, and what he had stole a car. He was a criminal. He stole a car. He was fleeing arrest. So here we go with the black community. Dysfunction on display. Hypocrisy on display. He was not some good student that got out of school and a police shot him for no reason. That's how you're making it sound. That's not what happened. What happened is a criminal was committing a crime and got shot.
Okay. I don't think anybody here condones stealing cars. I don't think anybody does. Does that warrant, because I think we're on to a bigger point. Does that warrant an 18-year-old who is running away from police being shot because a car is allegedly stolen? Is that where we are in society? Or an 18-year-old's murder can be justified because a car was stolen and he was running away? Is that, or is this scared? Is this cowardice? And when you see older people have it, you see more. Hold on. Let's look at this. Okay, this is the submission of white supremacy that I was talking about. This is them being afraid. This is their responses out of fear, because they understand if a society rebels and they are a part of the oppressed group, whether they like it or not, they're black, whether they like it or not, they will be lumped in. That will change the situation in the condition for them, which they don't want. So they're out here trying to be all like, well, no, we shouldn't do that. They're out here trying to be counterproductive to the eventual rebellion
black people
of the system of injustice. Okay. And this is all we're talking about. This is not condoning violence, but this is condemning injustice.
black people. I know y'all not about to like what I'm gonna say concerning the Rodney and Ryan Hinton situation. But when I tell y'all Rodney went out like a crash dummy behind his 18-year-old criminal son, what we first must recognize is Ryan brandished a weapon along with his 3 friends who possibly had weapons. We can't say.
Okay. Just want to pause it real quick. I want to pause it. This is a snapshot shot of the situation. Did he brandish a weapon? I showed you the video first for a reason. Was a weapon brandished, or was he completely running away? I could almost see this response if this was some type of shootout, some deadly shootout, and the cop was pinned down and another one was shot up and there was no way out. But a teenager running away, all right, running away, and you're chasing a teenager and you stop, pull your gun out and start firing multiple rounds. Was a weapon brandished here? No, it wasn't, but you're lying. This is why I showed you the video beforehand.
Here and act like a young black man with 3 other young black men in a dangerous criminal area isn't alarming. Then you sitting in a stolen vehicle. What else are you doing in a stolen vehicle? How many crimes have you gotten away with? How many other people have you hurt and harmed in your spree of violence, right?
And your spree of violence. Let's say he was in a stolen vehicle. We don't know if he's the one who stole the vehicle, allegedly. We don't know that situation. It was a vehicle that was reported stolen. We don't know that. He might have been in with some friends and not known the vehicle. We don't know. This is very important, but we don't know that. Regardless of any of that, does that justify what happened to him? How many people have he's harmed? Does this person have a history of violence against other people? Does he have a history of committing heinous violent acts? He's sitting up here trying to brand this man as he's some type of notorious gang member. But that's not who he was. And we're not going to sit up here and whether we condemn Grand Theft Auto and stealing a vehicle or not, we're not going to sit up here and allow him to be branded as if this man was the damn Al Capone of his generation.
See, that's what Rodney didn't understand. A lot of the times our children be into the worst shit, but we don't want to accept it because then that will put the accountability on us as parents. I understand being mentally perturbed at the whole situation, Rodney, but you failed your son as a father. Because if he knew anything about the law, he would have knew. When they yelled out, he got a gun, I would have fell flat to my face and extended my hands to the ground. Everybody know that. Anybody who don't want to be hurt by the police, they know to put their hands behind their head, drop down to their knees, and comply. I'm not in support of this move.
Oh, yeah, you heard the word comply. All of these people, this is the surrender. This is cowardice. Okay? And we see the police. Everybody knows that. No, we don't. Everybody don't know that. Everybody doesn't. Because we don't see videos like this. We don't see the equivalent of this happening to the dominant society. With that matter, we don't see the equivalent of this happening to Asians. We don't see the equivalent of this happening to Hispanics. We only see situations like this with black people. The whole, well, you should have already known to comply. Now, we only see that argument being made when they're black.
I will not be screaming justice for Ryan or Rodney, and Rodney deserve what he about to get in the court of law.
It's cowardice. And then when you see older people, first off, and it just, I gotta say it. This man's teeth is yellow as hell. That his teeth is yellow as hell. Okay. I wouldn't have made a video if my teeth was that yellow. I wouldn't be sitting up there making no videos. I don't care. I damn sure wouldn't be putting my face in them. Okay. I wouldn't be putting my face in no video. At first, when you're watching it, you think he got grills. No, those ain't grills. Those are just his teeth. That's just his teeth. Oh, and you're like, oh, okay, he has some gold grills. No, he don't got no gold grills. He got gold teeth. That's the difference. Okay. This man, not no rapper. This man just homeless. I wouldn't have did. I'm sure there's some type of AI filter that whitens your teeth or something like that. I'm sure there's something he could have done. Okay. I mean, come on now. But this is what you have. And unfortunately, this type of situation, it even leads to the younger ones sitting up there making, when they see older people who are scared, older people old enough to be their uncle and all that stuff, he looked like he's somebody, Uncle Ruckus. He looked like he's somebody, Uncle Ruckus. All right. Who all like, you got to comply now with that, barely speak like a damn Sambo. Sounded like a Sambo. This man sounds like a Sambo. When you got old Sambos like that, unfortunately, what that does is that creates younger Sambos.
So everybody that's making videos about Rodney Hilton Jr., I believe is his name, a father who killed a police officer the day after his son was killed by a police officer. So he did it for revenge. And I'm seeing posts like everyone is saying, oh, keep your head up, brother. You a hero. You took one for the team, and we appreciate you. Fight fire with fire. I'm seeing a lot of people. And I'm like, you got to be the most stupidest person ever in life. This man killed a police officer. And we have people talking about he's a hero. You have to fight fire with fire. If they killed his son, then I'm glad he killed them back. Stand.
I haven't heard anybody say that. Let me break this out. Let me say this for a second. What people are saying is they understand. And regardless of what people might think was the right response or the wrong response, we got to be very careful with what we say here. People do generally respect bravery. People do respect fatherhood. People do respect a father who avenges their family. People do respect a man who, if they cannot defend, because sometimes you're not always around people. If you cannot defend your family, you will avenge your family. People respect that, whether you like it or not. Even your enemy respects someone who is brave. Bravery is universally respected among everybody, whether they like it or not. Even among the oppressors, bravery is just by nature a respected characteristic. And people are saying that they respect the characteristic of bravery that they have seen. And people are highlighting the fact that if it was not for the fact that they have gotten away with generations of children like Tamir Rice in Ohio, the same state, if they have not gotten away with situations like that and saying, well, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. If that had not built up to the point where everybody is on edge, everybody is at the brink of insanity, where they can go out and do something to avenge somebody who they know the system is going to deny justice for. This is what people are saying. Let's continue.
And I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. What are you talking about? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, what is wrong with people, man? I mean, his son was in a police chase, fleeing from the police. He had possession of a gun on him. And guess what? You resist the police, you run, you have a gun, you get shot and killed. That's the consequences. It says it in the Bible. When you resist.
What type of plantation slave Bible are you reading? It says that in the Bible? It says that in the Bible, where if you're running from the police, you get shot down like a dog. That they say, what type of plant? I want you guys to understand something. Back during the times of slavery, they would have edited Bibles, and they would have select people, because black people were not allowed to read deliberately. They deliberately prevented black people who were slaves from being able to read. Okay, first off, the American literacy rate was low anyway, but when it came to all these other people, they were allowed to. It was legal for them to know how to read, which is why we don't play the game. Just decide, which is why we don't play the game of, well, hold on, everybody was equally oppressed. No, anytime anybody says everybody was equally oppressed, or there was racism everywhere, say which group of people, because there was only one, which group of people had their life taken from them, were being lynched for the knowledge of being able to know how to read. Which group of people would be killed for just knowing how to read, not reading and starting a rebellion, for just knowing how to read? They would die. Which is only one group of people, foundational Black Americans. Only one group of people. So anytime people compare other groups of people's tragedies in this country, it doesn't hold a candle to just that fact, not even anything else. Just that fact alone overshadows everybody else's alleged tragedies, overshadows everybody else's hardship in this country every time, no matter who it is. Now, when you talk to this man, I want us to understand, and this goes back to history, this is the cowardice, okay? Because, and this isn't to say religion, or this isn't to say Christianity makes you a coward, but we have to understand some people take what they want from it. There are people who naturally have the fear, like I said earlier, fear that would be neutral in this case, and they will use their religion to justify either their bravery, or they will use religion to justify their cowardice. Okay? That's what they would do. So you have people who follow the Christian faith, and they use that, the Christian faith, the Muslim faith, the Jewish faith, all of these faiths, whether or spirituality or any other religious affiliation, any other religious group that maybe not from the Abrahamic faith, they use that, and that reinforces a bravery that already exists within them. You also have people who use that, and that allows them, and that gives them a justification for their cowardice, which is what he's doing right here. He's using the Bible, and I guess I gotta find out exactly what he's talking about. I've never heard of the Bible condoning a police officer shooting a child in the back. Never heard of that. But he's using that to rationalize and then justify his own internal cowardice, his own internal fear. All right. That's what he's doing. Let's continue. Now, he says the whole thing about it's in the Bible. You get shot down if you run from the cops. That's in the Bible. Okay.
And guess what? You resist the police, you run, you have a gun, you get shot and killed. That's the consequences. It says it in the Bible. When you resist authority, there are consequences. Things happen when you resist. It says it in the Bible. But people just need to stop, man.
No. Does the Bible tell you to submit to any and all authority? No, it doesn't. The Bible only allows you, really, because everything else would be forbidden, for you to submit to righteous authority that follows the rules and regulations of the word of God. This is not just the Bible. This is whether that's the Bible, whether that's the Torah, whether that's the Quran. They don't tell you to blindly submit to any and all authority whatsoever. If anybody has authority over you, God said that this is where you're supposed to be submitting to. No. Okay. There is rules and regulations for the people who have authority. This is among all religions. Okay. No matter what religion you pick, all religions, that's what they say. That's what's in the religion. Okay. And that authority has to be using their authority righteously in order for the people to submit to him. But he is using that, and he is skewing it to justify his cowardice.
With this race war, oh, keep your head up, brother. I'm glad he killed one of the police officers. They fighting fire with fire. Now they know how it feels to lose one of their own. Like, that is stupid, man. You promoting murder. You promoting violence and cold blood murder. That police officer had nothing to do with his son's death. The police officer that was killed by the father the next day had nothing to do with his son's death. He was just a regular officer working traffic duty, and the guy ran him over in the car and killed him on purpose. Like, stop it, man, with these posts, man. Like, it's just nonsense, bro. Black people are the most race war people I've ever seen in my life. Like, just stop, man. Stop with it, bro. He was a thug. He was running from the police. His son had a gun on him. And guess what? He got shot and killed. The officers got to make it home at night. And guess what?
Right here, with that statement, the officers have to make it home at night. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna get to y'all super chats in just a second. Thank you. The officers have to make it home at night. When we hear people say this, we don't hear people say this with black officers. No, I don't hear people say this with black officers. Do you guys remember the situation with Muhammad Noor, who accidentally shot and killed a white woman? Okay. Thrown in jail immediately. All of the Blue Lives Matter excuses, all of the cops have a hard job, the cops have to make it home at night, it's dangerous, you don't know what's going to happen, there's a war on police officers. Yeah, you don't hear that excuse when they're black, though. Oh no, you don't hear that excuse when they're black. If they're black and they take the life of a white person, oh, all of the all lives matter excuse. Oh, no. Ain't no blue lives matter here, you Negro. Ain't no cops got a dangerous job, you black Negro. Ain't none of that, you blackie. None of that. Oh no, they don't allow that at all. The cops have a dangerous job. Code word, well, white lives are more important than black lives. So if a situation where the cop, the person, because in order to be a cop, you guys, in case you guys didn't know, in order to be a cop, you have to, sign up to be a cop. Nobody like forces you to be a cop or anything like that. In case anybody didn't know that, in order to be a cop, you actually have to like apply in stuff to be a cop. You have to be willing to be a cop. Nobody forces you to be a cop. So you know what the situation is prior to going in there. Even though you know what the situation is prior to going in there, still decide to do it. Knowing the situation is not always safe, still decide to do it. You still decide to do that same exact thing. But what they're saying is the people who put themselves in that position, their lives, if they're white, are more important than the lives of a black citizen. White lives have more importance in society than black lives do. That's the whole, well, cops got to make it home too. Okay. Well, if you making it home was that much of a big deal, you should just work at, Wendy's or something. If the danger for you is that severe where you get to rationalize just doing whatever you want to do because the situation is so dangerous, then maybe you shouldn't be a police. Nobody makes that argument though. Nobody makes the argument that this is the job you signed up for though. Nobody makes that argument. It's always, well, the cops got a dangerous job. Only if they're white. Then the cops have a dangerous job. If they're black, you don't have a family to go home to, you Negro. You don't, your life didn't, no. Okay. How dare you take a life of a white person? Okay. Your life will never be more valuable than their life is. That's what they believe. And that's essentially what he means when he said what he said.
But I believe that the father deserves to be in jail. Put him away and let him rot. I believe they should have killed him like they killed his son. And I believe they should have put 20.
Damn. He said, I believe that they should have killed him like they killed his son. And what's so sad about this is that the man, I don't know how old he is making this video, but you don't look that much older. He don't look that much older than the 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, who was shot. I'm assuming this man is in his early 20s something. He might be a little bit old. I don't know. He might be a little bit older, but he don't look that much older. And this is what he's doing.
30, 40, 50 bullets in the man for killing that officer. I don't want to hear nothing about, keep your head up. We thank you for, this is for the black community. Thank you, brother. You're going to be a hero in jail. No, man, that's not cool, bro. You a cold-blooded murderer who killed an innocent cop because you think that officer had a part in dealing with your son's death. It's crazy, bro. Just stop it. Just stop it. It's nonsense. Black people, get your act together. Get your act together. I'm sick and tired of it. Get it together. Get it together. Get it together. And in my opinion, I believe black people are the most racist people. I believe they have more ought against white people than white people have an ought against us. They're so victim-minded. They just live in a victim mindset, about white people, that all white people are out to get them. Bro, stop it, man. Be free. You can be delivered today. You can be set free by the power of the Holy Ghost. Be free from that victim mindset. It's a demon.
Man, I'm okay. All right.
It's a demon. It's a demon.
Dude, whatever church you going to, let us know so we can make sure nobody goes there. He said the power of the Holy Ghost. I don't know what type of Holy Ghost you got going on, but don't nobody want that. Don't nobody want whatever he has going on. That's that cowardice, okay? And we've also talked about preachers too. Remember? Hold on. This is the result of the preachers. Didn't we talk about that not long ago? Hold on. Let me bring this up. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, hold on. This is the result of pastors saying stuff like this.
blaming white cops for the killing of black kids. Instead, teach your black children to be obedient towards authority. And I don't care if most of y'all are black. You need to teach your children to obey authority. We need to teach our sons and daughters to obey authority. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops, not rebel. Be model citizens.
Important to note, he is a tether. Okay, he admitted it himself. Okay, he's from Trinidad. I'm pretty sure he said he was from Trinidad. I'm sure he's from the Caribbean. His family is. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it was Trinidad.
Stop being rebellious towards authority. Be submitted to laws and ordinances. Stop parking in handicapped spaces unless you want a reason to park there.
Okay. This is cowardice. This is cowardice. Okay. This is exactly what cowardice does. So when you have people out here, I don't even have to play the rest of that. When you have people out here, he's not speaking about bravery or righteousness or justice. What he was saying, I'm gonna play back just a little bit. Does this sound like justice? Don't park in a handicapped space unless you want a reason to park there.
To laws and ordinances. Stop parking in handicapped spaces unless you want a reason to park there.
Now that sounds like justice, right? That sounds like justice. This is cowardice. This is a tether who is using the Bible and teaching a version of cowardice that he and his people unfortunately have submitted to. Okay? This is the exact opposite of the page you see Dr. King on. Dr. King was not on that page. You would have never seen Dr. King say something like, don't park in a handicapped space unless you want a reason to park there. You would have never seen Dr. King say, if a white cop kills a black child, the white cop is justified because the black child should have known better. You would have never seen Dr. King say anything remotely close to that. Reverend Dr. King, you would have never seen him say anything remotely close to that whatsoever. Yet you have tethers over here who are using this skewed cowardice version of the Bible, and they're preaching that, and you're seeing that type of energy is, I'm not sure if he goes to that church or not, but that type of energy is affecting the youth. This cowardice energy is affecting the youth. It's sad. It's pathetic. It's not just sad, it's pathetic. Let me get to some of the super chats real quick. Iron Will says, Hinton's car malfunctioned, causing him to lose control of the vehicle, which led to the fatal crash. That's how the white supremacists would play it. That is probably very true. Let's be very honest. That's probably very true. We don't know what really happened. They would be playing it like that. Oh, well, we don't know. Why was he standing? They would literally say, well, why didn't he move out the way? He couldn't have moved out the way. He didn't see this car charging at him. Why didn't he move out the way? That's what they would say. And as of right now, we don't know. We don't have all the facts, all the evidence. We haven't seen all the videos. We don't know. He might have been trying to escape from a dangerous situation, an accident he might not have saw. You know what I'm saying? He might have been, unfortunately, he couldn't see or something like that. His car just turned. His car might have, we don't know what happened, really. We don't. Not sure. That's a good point. They would give the grace, wouldn't they? They would give that grace. Maya, our sister, says, there's the consequence that says, where's the consequence for the ones who have badges that keep taking lives? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. The consequence for taking the life of Tamir Rice. What was Timothy Loman's consequence? Oh yeah, being fired. So he can be rehired at another police station. That was his consequence. Transferring. That's their consequence. They can take the lives of children, and their consequence is a transfer to another department. That's their consequence. That's their consequence. Black Spider sends a super chat, a super sticker. Thank you very much. And then my brother Hurricane says, for all these things they say we should do, they can't show any receipts. They are auditioning hard for a dead-end job. That's true. That's true. Where has anything else worked? If we're wrong and we're not doing the right thing and what we're doing is wrong and that's not the right way to handle the situation, show me where anything else has worked or would work better than what we're doing. But you know, when you see cowardice out here, something that I love to see is the opposite, as the antithesis of that. I love to see bravery, fearlessness, which is what I saw right here as these cops were out here putting on a show, trying to intimidate this brother. You didn't see fear in this man's eyes whatsoever. Look at this, y'all. This was before the whole situation with his brother.
Hold him at no bond for 72 hours.
Yes,
is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.
I want to see they're staring him, they're giving him this stare of death, and he's looking back at them and giving it more intensely than they're giving it to him. All of these cops, there's gotta be what 20, 30 cops in that room. Bunched up in that room. There's probably a fire hazard. They all piled up in that room, and yet he's not showing the slightest ounce of fear at all. He's looking at him, got his held up high. They're all upset trying to intimidate him. He doesn't look intimidated whatsoever. He doesn't look scared whatsoever.
Thank you, Yoda. No, thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you push a society, when you push foundational Black Americans to the point where there is no other option, or allegedly they feel that there is no other option. I'm just going to keep things, because his thing was temporary insanity. This is what happens when you create a condition of this. This is what happens when a condition has been made and people have been forced to live in this condition, this unnatural, inhuman condition of racial hierarchy and white supremacy. This is what happens. And eventually the chickens do come home to roost. And when the chickens come home, they're not scared. They're looking at them. You see more anger in the cop's face when they see he's not afraid of them. When he's looking at the cop and the cop is trying to stare him down and show intimidation, and the brother is showing more intimidation. This infuriates them. This is the divorce of fear. When you've lost everything, this is what happens. This is what happens. Now, let me ask you guys this very, very important question, because a lot of people are saying it's not all cops. It's not all. They're not all bad. They're not all bad. A lot of them are good. A lot of them are super nice. And the cop who was involved in the accident, he wasn't even a cop that shot Ryan. He wasn't even involved in the situation with Ryan. He didn't deserve it. Okay. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But let me ask you this question. It's a very important question, because all solutions come from questions being asked first. Questions and answers is how we get solutions. The anger that the cops have in this moment right here, them locking arms and standing together shoulder to shoulder to defend their brother in arms for justice, the anger that you see in their face. Let me show you the video one more time. Look at the cops' faces. anger that you're seeing in their face, if looks could kill, that anger, is this the anger that we see when a black life is taken away? We see cops get angry when other cops die, but we don't see cops get angry when black children die. If cops had this much anger, this much rage, this much animosity of another cop who would take a life of a child, then we wouldn't be in this situation now, would we? We wouldn't be in this situation, I don't think. If we saw this much disdain for a cop who would do that, we wouldn't be in this type of situation. But you see this when other cops lose their life as a consequence, which is still unfortunate, but as a consequence of their collective action. Because collectively, what do we see? We see them welcoming Timothy Loman and other cops who do this stuff with open arms. Were cops angry? This amount of anger that you see resonating from their faces, do you see this anger when Timothy Loman came back to the force? Do you see this anger when a cop does something inhuman to a black child? Do you see this type of anger? Or do you see cops defending other cops? Do you see cops covering for other cops? Cops lying for other cops? Cops hiding evidence for other cops? Is this what we see? While we tell ourselves that, oh no, they're not all like that. Okay, well, when it's, you got to think to yourself, it's easier to get rid of a lot of people would feel, I'm not saying yes or no, but a lot of people would feel like it's better to get rid of or to categorize all of the apples as rotten, even if there's a few apples in a barrel that's not rotten. It's a few good apples in this barrel of rotten apples. It's better to cast all of the apples aside, to categorize all of the apples, than to try to dig through and find the good or two good apples that exist within this barrel of bad apples. That's how people are made to feel. That's how this brother is made to feel. Because if there were an overwhelming amount of good apples, you wouldn't see bad apples like this. You wouldn't see bad apples like that. We wouldn't see unpunished situations like Tamir Rice or Ryan. You wouldn't see that if all of these apples were good apples with a few bad ones here or there. You wouldn't see that. You wouldn't. We wouldn't be seeing that. So when people tell you, oh, that was an overreaction, okay, all right then. But if we're going to say that, then I have to ask the question, what was the proper reaction? What is the proper reaction? What do we need to be doing? What needs to happen? What needs to happen? That's just my question. What needs to happen in order for us to do that? For us to solve that situation? I'm just saying. Were they this angry? Let me show you the image again. Were they this angry? Were they this heated? Were they this pissed off and enraged when Ryan died, who's 18 years old, when Tamir Rice died, killed, who was 12? Have we ever seen them this angry? Ryan, Tamir Rice, Laquan McDonald, Rakia Boyd. Have we ever seen them angry when a black child dies? Okay, Mike Brown, anybody? Freddie Gray. Do we see cops get angry at other cops? Do we see them cast aside other police officers? Because that's not what happened with Timothy Loman. Was Timothy Loman cast aside? Was he ostracized from the police? Do the police despise children murderers like Timothy Loman? Or collectively? We're just speaking on collectively. Collectively, do they condone, justify, and rationalize what they do? It's what we see. This is what we see. So when you're looking at this situation right here, this is the environment that they have made. And they're upset that they're going to have to lay in the bed that they made. Now, we have tried to, for years, prevent situations like this from occurring by bringing forth justice. They don't want that. They didn't want justice will come. Let me say this. It's the natural response to it. Justice will come. Okay? Now, how it comes is up to them. We have argued. We have tried to protest. We have tried to legislate a civilized and peaceful justice. Justice will come. It will push through regardless. So since they have said collectively that they do not want a peaceful way of justice, they do not want a civilized way of justice, they do not want a bloodless way of justice that will lead people to the only other alternative, which is the opposite of that. Now, if we don't want more situations like this, then what the police need to do is the police need to purge the anti-black racism that exists within the police department. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. But until then, we're going to keep up with this case. But a lot of people respect the bravery of the father and the bravery of a parent. And what they see as the starting point to a new direction of justice is what a lot of people are seeing with this situation. And we're always, as the underdog, more powerful than what they want us to be, what we even think we are ourselves. We are. So this is why they create this avenue that they tell us that we can't go down for justice. So if we can't go down their peaceful avenue, then there's going to be an alternative, because justice will prevail. It absolutely will. It's the natural way of things. It will prevail. How it does, with bloodshed or not, is them. It's up to them. Now, for the sake of keeping the peace in the channel and the platform, we hope that there is no bloodshed. We hope that there's no violence. We hope that there is no loss of life. But in order for us to get to that point, we have to be realistic with where we are now. And this is where we are now. This is where we are. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But whether they learn the hard way or the easy way, they're going to learn eventually. They will learn eventually. Now, family, I need you guys to follow me on my various social media. If you guys are not getting my notifications on my live streams, a lot of people are saying that they're not doing that. They send like different messages and stuff like that, letting me know that they don't get their notifications. And that's something that we see. So if you guys aren't, you guys can follow me so that way you guys don't miss out on anything. Also, very important, hit that like button, please. If you respect the change of injustice, hit that like button. If you respect the message that naturally the defense mechanism is going to come out if there is no other avenue and we've been pushed to the brink, hit that like button. Send a message that this is the eventual alternative to the system of white supremacy. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button as well too. Make sure that you guys are subscribed. Make sure and hit that notification button. All right. With that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one to every single last one of you all. I appreciate you all so very much. You all stay safe. Keep your children safe. All right. You all have a good one. Stay blessed, family.